What's up guys, it's Zenith or Zen, whatever one works at this point, and today I'm here to test out something I've seen on a couple of forums, and that's to see if a third-party controller for a Nintendo Gamecube is compatible with a first-party controller. There are many reasons why you would want to actually make this swap, one being that third-party controllers tend to have a lot greater color variation. Some rare colors that you'd see with GameCube controllers you'll be able to find them really cheap with third-party controllers. However, these are Five Below bought GameCube controllers, as you can see right here. They're not really branded too well, and they overall are pretty bad. But they do have their draw in that they are much cheaper than, say, a controller like this, which costs $50 to $60 depending on where you find it on eBay. So if you do find a cheap controller shell that you go, hey, I want this color on my GameCube controller, but you want a first-party GameCube controller, well, this is to see if you can actually make that swap. Let me just start this video out with a quick disclaimer. I do not recommend the purchase of these controllers at all under any circumstances. Even if it's for your one friend who's coming over to play Smash Bros, there's no real way you can have fun with them. The analog sticks are just garbage. As you can see, you can move it all around and that's not even a single input. The analog sticks, or the analog triggers, and just everything on here feels unresponsive, and just they're incredibly imprecise. I bought two of these controllers from Five Below, and one of them has already broken. The Y button has stopped working, so basically the boards on these are just garbage. The only thing that make these worth buying is if they're compatible with a first-party controller, because then you wouldn't have to buy these expensive shells on eBay in order to get the color that you desire. Now, I have seen on forums that the shell for these controllers are slightly different than that of a first-party's controller, and I'm not too sure of that at the moment, but once we open this, we will see. Now, the first thing to note about this is, to open it, you don't need a tri-wing screwdriver. In other words, the ones that you need to open up the first-party controllers. You only need your regular standard Phillips head. The placings of all the screws are all the same. The screws are much shorter, however, than that of a real GameCube controller. I don't know if you can tell here, that's the third party. Actually, I wouldn't say shorter, but just slightly shorter and a lot less thick than the GameCube controller screws. Don't forget, I don't know where your sticker placing on your controller would be, but there is definitely a screw under here, so just kind of puncture that. You won't be needing any kind of warranty. I'm not sure if these controllers even come with one, but honestly, it's not even worth it. Okay, now once you have all the screws off, we'll see what the internals of this look like. Keep in mind, this is what the internals of a first-party controller looks like. There might be some slight variation, but we won't know until we look. Wow. Alright, so overall it looks pretty much the same. I'm curious to see what makes the Z button click. That just might be the board itself. You have your rumble and everything. This is what the inside of it looks like. Now again, there are many variations of third-party controllers. This is just one of them. I'm not sure if other brands are slightly different, but this is the one you can commonly find at Five Below. Alright, so I guess I'll keep everything the way it is and see if this fits on it. Very well should. I'm taking the Z button out and replacing it with a legit one. Ooh, I don't think this is gonna work out though. Alright, so the first difference I can tell is there is no, if you can tell on a first-party controller, there is this little slot for the Z button and for the little metal part of the Z button to insert so that you can press it. Now that doesn't exist on this controller, unfortunately. So you would have to at least do without the faceplate. Let's see if the bottom part of the controller is compatible with a top of the first-party controller, giving you the ability to use it to basically have a clear bottom, because clear third-party controllers are pretty common and inexpensive. Alright, so right away I can kind of tell it's not a very secure fit. it would definitely feel very weird. I'm not sure if I'm actually getting this completely in. So it feels like it ever so slightly does not fit. Like there's certain parts like here where you have a gap, and that's definitely probably just because the internals of this controller are much different. If you want a side-by-side comparison to a first-party controller, they're just ever so different. And the triggers explode, I guess, when you press them down too hard. There is no like guard for it. I'm sure you can just put it back together by just inserting the spring. But yeah, I don't think any part of these controllers are going to be compatible with the first party. But there's only one way to find out. We'll take this first party controller and yep, this should be a fit if it will work. And nope, doesn't seem to be. There's a plastic part in the way, and that's something I have seen in the forums where people say they have to melt down or basically break off certain pieces of the shell in order to make it fit. Honestly, myself, I'm not looking to do that. I was just curious to see if it'd be a clean fit, and I'm just not. Honestly, it's not even worth the work of doing that because you're not going to get a great feel out of it. It's not going to have like a snug feel, and when you're playing, I don't know, Smash Bros, especially if it's something like Melee, which controller feel means a lot to the player, you're just not going to have a good time. However, one interesting thing to note before I put my controller back, I wanted to test this out, were that the two C sticks are actually compatible, and same goes with the analog sticks. You can tell that this is a third-party one. It definitely looks and feels a bit cheaper, but if for whatever reason you want a replacement C-stick or analog stick, honestly they don't feel too bad compared to the first party ones. They don't feel as good, but they just as a side note, they are compatible and you can swap these. This controller is even hard to put back together. So in conclusion, would I say any part of this controller is not worth it? No, I would say it would be only if you're looking for a C-stick or a control stick replacement right away. These do have a bit of a cheap feel. They don't feel as good as the first party ones, but they will work. Other than that, there is absolutely nothing worth it about this controller. Like I said, it already broke on me, didn't have a great feel to begin with, and there's nothing really compatible besides the sticks that you can swap out with a first party controller. You get what you pay for in life, and this is definitely not worth it.